Good tunes for the morning. Good morning. My name is Zavi Ben-Menachem. I'm lead PM on the Xbox Live group, which is part of Microsoft's entertainment division. So I have the privilege of having my avatar with me, look like me, probably has a bit more hair, maybe 10 pounds lighter. But hey, don't judge me. And I have really excited to be here today and talk to you about what does it mean to bring Xbox Live to Windows 8. Being part of this launch of Windows 8, the new platform, new development platform, new opportunities, and to bring Xbox Live as part of this incredible effort and opportunity to use developers is definitely an exciting opportunity for us from the Xbox Live group. So a couple weeks ago, when I was starting to build the deck, I was thinking about, okay, it's pretty unique opportunity to talk about what we're going to show you today and what is really the best way to start talking about that. And that one slide is going to lead into what we're going to be showing you today. And I was going through my Twitter feed and going through different posts, and I saw a post from Major Nelson. And he had a tweet about the fact that Xbox Live has been available now for almost 9 years. Almost 9 years, and he was talking about the first gamer tag that was created on the service 9 years ago. Anyone knows what was the first gamer tag? E, right. It was the letter E. And I thought, it's a great way to start talking about what Xbox Live is and really all the milestones that the service has gone through in the first 9 years and share some of the facts and some interesting milestones that we hit with the service. So first, Xbox Live is available today in 35 countries worldwide. And although it seems like a small number, it actually makes over 70% of PCs worldwide. So it's obviously a pretty significant reach. And in those 35 countries, we have about 35 million subscribers. So this is all good and nice, but the fact that I found really, really interesting is that those 35 million users actually spend 2.1 billion hours per month on the service. And if you do the math, that's about 60 hours per user per month. Playing games, listening to music, watching video, but extremely engaged user base. And for me, it's definitely a huge, huge opportunity for you as developers. Anyone who spends 60 hours per month on the service, this is someone I would like to reach. So I spent some more time digging through our databases and different BI systems to find some more facts and interesting milestones that the service has gone through. And I found that since we started Xbox Live, we actually granted over close to 177 billion gamer score points, which, unlike some of the other services, people got them. Actually, that means a lot to them as gamers. And that comes with more than 6.3 billion achievements. Right, so pretty significant milestones, great first 9 years for the service, and a really unique opportunity for you as developers to reach and touch those subscribers. So let me go and move on and see what we're planning for the service next. Over the past few years, we've been really working hard to on our vision to bring Xbox Live to all of our devices. Whether it's the Xbox 360, Windows Phone, Xbox.com. On the Xbox 360, year after year, we're working to enhance the service, adding additional gamer services, adding additional entertainment services, expanding the reach of the service. Xbox.com, that's gone and going through significant upgrades to really bring the full experience of Xbox Live to the web. Last year, Xbox.com was launched to support the Kinect and the Windows Phone 7 launch. This year, we've integrated the games for Windows Marketplace into Xbox.com to really bring a more integrated experience to our users. Windows Phone 7 launched last year with Xbox Live support, which has been extremely successful. And this year, Windows Phone 7.5 Mango is getting upgrades to the Xbox Live functionality, really to support new functionality we're enabling from the service, as well as better integrated experience with the Windows Phone shell. So we're really pushing across all of those screens to really bring that full experience of Xbox Live to our devices. And today, we're going to be talking to you about bringing Xbox Live to Windows. This is really a unique opportunity to bring Xbox Live, the most popular gaming service, to Windows 8. Windows 8 provides breaking grounds, new opportunities for you as developers. And we've really done a lot of work to make sure that Xbox Live will shoulder that effort, and we really bring those additional gamer services and experiences to you as game developers building apps for Windows 8. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Xbox Live is basically, today we look at it as a set of services, right? From identity, which is today shared among pretty much across the entire company. Chris Jones was talking about Live ID becoming that prominent identity that we're sharing across all of our services in Microsoft, whether it's Windows Live, whether it's Windows Phone, and now Windows 8 with the connected ID is also kind of taking that Live ID to a whole new level. Xbox Live is also using that new identity. You don't need different user account, different identity. Sure, you'll have your own gamer identity as part of it, but the underlying mechanism is Live ID, Windows Live ID. Multiplayer has been extremely successful on Xbox Live for years. True skill, matchmaking, and multiplayer, we're bringing all of that to Windows today. Achievements, leaderboards, Avatar and Friends, those familiar services that you know and love from the Xbox 360, all of those are coming to Windows 8 for you to use. I'm also going to be talking today a little bit about new services that we're going to be introducing this year with Xbox Live. Services such as beacons, roaming storage, and real-time counting service that really enables you as game developers to introduce new and unique experiences as part of your games. Xbox Live we're taking it to a different level, and today it's more than just a gamer service, right? Xbox Live is also a lot about the content that you as developers create. It's also about the entertainment that our users consume. It's the music, it's videos, it's movies, it's television. And we're really putting a lot of effort to bring all of that together and create that set of delightful experiences that works very well across our devices, the Xbox 360, the phone, and Windows. Let's take a quick look at what that experience will look like. In E3 this year, we've shown you the new Xbox 360 dashboard that's going to be available to you this holiday season. And as you can see, the design is, we've redesigned the Xbox dashboard really to be simple to navigate, very clear, very easy to understand, very Metro-like, right? And if you've seen Jensen Harry's talk or Summer Rowe, we're really following across the company that Metro-style design and taking that to all of our devices. So the Xbox dashboard is optimized for that. And you can see that clean design, Metro-style design that, in the Xbox case, is optimized for the new NUI, for voice, for Kinect. But we're taking that design concept to all of our devices. And we're going to be taking Xbox Live, the new dashboard design to the phone, to the web, as well as to Windows 8. Obviously, for each one of those devices, we're going to take that design and we're going to optimize it for that form factor, right? We can't just take the same design and just copy-paste it across our devices. It will not have the effect that we want from kind of doing this design align across all of our devices. So for Xbox, again, it's very optimized for 10-foot UI, for Kinect, for voice. Windows Phone, it's the small form factor, it's the touch. Windows 8, it's going to be around the Slate form factor, taking advantage of touch, taking advantage of the new sensors that are introduced in Windows 8. So, and what's going to make it even more unique is the fact that we're not just making that available across those devices, but we're going to make that experience better by connecting all of those devices together with the Xbox Live service. So let me take you through a kind of quick journey of our new Xbox Live on Windows application. For those of you who've been following Twitter and the blogosphere in the last couple of days. There are a couple of images that were shared. This was one of them. And I'm super excited to be the one that kind of shows it to you for the first time, really. There's a lot of hard work done, really, to bring that unique experiences of Xbox Live to Windows in a way that makes sense for the users and for you as developers. So this is the Xbox Live on Windows Metro-style app. And one interesting tidbit that I want to make as we go through this walkthrough is everything that you see we've developed using the same public APIs that you guys can use to develop your games and applications. There is no secret sauce. There is no under-the-hood private APIs that we're using. It's all public, and we're all using really the new and exciting platform that Windows 8 introduces. So as you can see, we really kind of brought the same clean design from the Xbox 360 dashboard to Windows. A very Metro style, very easy to understand, easy to navigate. You took a quick look at this screen and you knew exactly how to navigate and where do you want to go. It's all about content first. It's not about our application and our menus and our navigation. It's all about how do you consume the content, how do you find it, how do you discover it. Xbox Live is also going to provide a rich set of content services, and you can see on top, such as video and music. But for the purpose of today's presentation, I'm not going to focus on those at all. We're going to be talking about those at a later time. Today, what I want to talk about is really just the social elements of the application. And the reason that I want to focus on those elements is that because we've been building those, the social element of the Xbox Live on Windows application really to be an extension of your games, of games that will be available on the Xbox Live service. So let me go and take you through a quick walkthrough of what that looks like. So Xbox Live is all about the social, right? You're signing in, and it's your identity. It's your avatar. It's your gamer score. It's your achievements. It's your friends. And as you can see, when we're kind of bringing that design to Windows, we're making sure that it's very clean, right? There's not too many details on the screen. It's very Metro. You understand what you do and what you want to do. And for the purpose of today, we're going to walk you through one scenario, and I'll show you, for example, how can I immerse myself in the application and look into, for example, some of the achievements, right? I'm a gamer. I care about my achievements. And again, a very clean design. And in this example, what I want to show you is another element, another design element that we've been focusing on, which is the tight integration with Windows 8. It was very, very important for us as we're designing Xbox Live on Windows to make sure that we have a clear, crisp integration between the Xbox Live experience and the one that Windows 8 brings to you as a user. So in that case, I'm a big Age of Empires Online gamer, and I really care about my achievements, and I really value them, right? So we've been integrating Xbox Live on Windows with the contracts that Windows introduces, right, to really kind of bring that power. Well, this is maybe one of the examples. We're doing it pretty much across the board with all of the contracts that Windows introduces, whether it's search, whether it's share, and some of the other ones. Another element that was very important is discoverability in the app. So yes, I can see my friends. Yes, I can see my achievements. But what are the really kind of delightful, unique experiences that we can bring to the service that will make people come back and want to experience more of that application, right? What are those experiences that we can bring to Xbox Live on Windows that people would want to come back every day to the application, right? What are those experiences? And a lot of the time, those are experiences that are hard to produce, right? Because our applications are functional, right? They do something, right? But what's going to be those experiences that will make people come back? Because it has that Facebook effect, right? I'm coming every day because I'm checking something that I care about, right? One thing that you can see here is what we're trying to do with the service is really to kind of bring up those my friends or social experience that matter most to me as a user. So for example, who are my friends that are playing or interested in content that I care about, right? They're playing the games that I care about, whether they're online or offline. But we as a service tell you, hey, this friend is also playing Age of Empires, right? You might want to play with him. Or he commented on that movie. Or he's bringing those experiences that basically will make me go and want to reach and interact with my friends. So digging into the friends list, so I can go and basically start interacting with each of my friends, right? And here, for example, you're saying, hey, I want to compare games with, with Clevins 16 because he plays Age of Empires, and we're competitive, and we want to see how that looks like. So going down to the kind of compare games screen, then you can see that we're basically bringing the whole set of Xbox Live games that both users play, whether they're on Windows, whether they're on Xbox 360, whether they're on the phone. We're really trying to bring that experience together, right? And another important point to make here is this is also a great discoverability tool, right? If I'm going to that place and I'm seeing that, oh, I'm playing, or my friend is playing Kinect Adventure or some other Windows game, and I really want to play it because it seems like he's enjoying. He's having a lot of fun in this game. He's saying good things about this game. We've been working very closely with the Windows Store guys to make sure that we have that tight integration. So if our application provides that great discoverability to you as game developers, we will be able to kind of provide that link to your content on the Windows Store, right? Which is very important. And we all know, right, there are going to be a lot of games out there, right? We always want to make sure that our game shines the best, that our game is really being discovered, right? It can be the greatest game out there, but if no one finds it, then, right, then it's not there. The third level that was important for me to talk about is what we call the immersive details of the application. Or this is the place where your users can come in and really immerse themselves in content that they care about. If you think about the approach that we took to the design of that application is users spend a lot of time in your games, but we wanted to extend it, right? How do we get users to also engage with your games when they're not playing it, right? What will be those set of experiences that I'll still be engaged with the game and with my friends, even if I'm not playing the game right now, right? And we've been kind of thinking really hard on what those set of really immersive experiences are, right? What is that Facebook moment when people want to come back to the application and really kind of spend more time in it? And this is one example, right? I mean, I can compare achievements. I can see what my progress is. I will be able to see news about the content that I care about, right? I can see when new content is coming from my application. I can see what the social media is saying, talking about my game, right? And you as game developer is going to get all that for free, right? This is all extension that we're building to the Xbox Live application, and that you as game developers can it's just there, right? You didn't have to do anything. And that's an extreme kind of incredible extension to your game. Another design concept that we had when we kind of created the social elements was, if we think about social today in the broad term, it basically has two main elements, right? It has the sharing element, right? I'm broadcasting to the world what I'm doing, right? This is what everybody does today, right? Share on Facebook, share on Twitter, right? Send an email, right? This is I'm broadcasting what I'm doing. And the other aspect of social is the gathering, right? We're all coming together to do something together, right? Whether it's to play a game or to watch a movie or to watch a football game or whatever. There's this sense of gathering that today is, yes, I can like a page on Facebook, but this is not really what we would like to see as gathering. And as we build the Xbox Live on Windows application, we're really spending a lot of time on, so how do we really create that experience? How do we really create those set of experiences that will make people understand, like, yeah, we're coming together to do something, right? Whether it's to play a game together or to experience something, and provide that set of experiences as part of the Xbox Live application. This is another example, really kind of trying to bring those things to life, right? What's Leaderboard? Yeah, it can be a list of just names, or it can be a very rich experience of Podium, and I see my friends, and I see where I am in that stack. And looking through all of that, right, it was very clean, right? But yet it projected exactly what you wanted as game developer, right? It gave me great view into leaderboards, great view into my friends, right? great way to interact with them. And this is really a lot of what we're trying to do when we're creating Xbox Live on Windows. Another view into that, into the immersive kind of details experience is, for example, here it's the Pinball FX 2 homepage. This is the overview. This is where you can see what the application is about. You can take some action, right? You can play it. I can see my progression. And again, this is all part of that immersive experience. And in the future, we'll show you additional, as when we release the application, we'll show you some of those additional experiences. But talking about Pinball FX 2, this is something that I actually want to demo here. Let me switch to the demo machine. There you go. And show you Pinball FX 2. So Pinball FX 2 is, let me run it. Okay. So Pinball FX 2, did you see how fast that launched? Right? And I think that the Windows platform guys really did incredible work on the game performance and the graphics performance. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a second. So really, shout out to the graphics guys. I don't know if they're in the room, but good job, guys. So what we've done is we took Pinball FX 2, which is an Xbox arcade game running on the 360. It was a DirectX 9 game. Obviously didn't have touch. And we really wanted to kind of experience what it means to bring a relatively large game to Windows 8. And again, remember that we've been porting this game to Windows 8 on a moving platform, right? Windows is still developing, and we took kind of the opportunity of really taking a stab at what that looks like and what you guys are going to experience going through this experience. So we took Pinball FX, which is a relatively large game. It has a little over 200,000 lines of code. And we ported it to Windows 8. We had to re-implement some of the underlying components, such as the message pump that's different in Windows 8, such as the threading model that's different in Windows 8. We've implemented touch. Obviously, the game was meant for Xbox controller, not for the Slate form factor. So we added touch. And we also added support for different sensors, like tilt and so on. One thing that I wanted to show here, which was very interesting, is that you can see it's a very graphically rich game, right? And in this instance, we're rendering the entire screen, every frame, pretty much. And what was very interesting to see is that, and again, this is a great compliment to the Windows 8 platform guys, is this is a standard laptop, right? This is not a gaming rig that's running, 5870 graphics card and 8 gig of RAM. This is a standard laptop, and you can see the experience is really smooth and really nice. You don't see any glitches. And it actually runs in 60 frames per second, right? And this is a standard hardware, right? So that we found that to be very, very impressive. Right? And again, this is great to be able to show to you here. The next thing we've done is actually implemented Xbox Live, the Xbox Live runtime functionality in the game. We've added profile, we've added achievements, we added leaderboards. And for us, it was really a good test bed to the SDK and the libraries that we're going to be giving to you as developers to develop against Xbox Live. And I've been practicing a lot, and I'm going to try and get achievement here. I'm not guaranteeing anything. So again, we've implemented touch. So to launch the game, I'm just going to swipe my finger on the right side of the screen. I'm going to release it, and then the ball launches. And I'm going to tap on the right and left side, basically, just to play the game. And you can see it's a very smooth experience. OK, now the shuttle is here, and I know there's achievement behind it. Let's see if I can get that. Come on, come on. Really, I've been practicing a lot. OK, but if I don't get that, what was good about that is we can implement cheats. Right? So I can show you how that looks like here. So I'm not going to get it here. I'm not going to spend your time, but I'm cheating and I'm getting achievements, which is cool. Thanks. Well, as you can see, it was an incredible experience. It took us 2 developers about 4 or 5 weeks to port the game. And again, the experience using the new Windows APIs were extremely positive. The design of the API is very consistent. It's very simple to use. And overall, again, it was a great experience. And I'm sure that when you guys start doing that, you'll experience the same thing. OK, so let's move on. But actually, before I move on, I want to give a huge, huge shout out to Microsoft Studios, Zen Studios, and our team back in Redmond that worked extremely hard to show both to bring that to Windows 8 in time for build, as well as some of the things that you've seen on the Xbox Live on Windows app. So real shout out to these guys. So going back to the deck, so we showed you kind of at the high level, OK, this is really kind of how we think about Xbox Live on Windows 8, some of the experiences that we're bringing to the Windows platform. Really at the high level, we're going to be releasing the Xbox Live on Windows later. No disclosed date at this point. And we showed you this. Now, let's take one step lower and talk about really what does it mean for you as developers. There you go. So first and foremost, we are bringing everything you know and love on the Xbox 360 and Xbox Live to Windows 8. Right? Plain and simple. Multiplayer, so the same multiplayer functionality that you know on Xbox 360 is coming to Windows. But we're actually adding one more super important functionality to that you would love. So in addition to the standard peer-to-peer multiplayer, we're also adding what's called async multiplayer. And what that will allow is to you developers actually perform multiplayer functionality between two Windows PCs, between the Windows and a phone, or between Windows and the Xbox 360. This is extremely powerful functionality, and I'm actually going to show you code in a second on how we're actually going to achieve that. So multiplayer, we're taking that to another level, right? It is the time really to open the platform to all of the devices out there. Windows 8 is going to have that premium experience. Windows Phone is going to have that experience. But you as developers can really take that to any of the devices and platform you want to develop for, which is extremely, extremely incredible opportunity. We're bringing the same achievements, gamer score, avatars, and friends to Windows. So you're going to get all the same functionality you're used to. If you like to have avatars in your application, it's all there. We're going to give you the parsers, the renderers, everything you need to really create those graphically rich experiences on Windows 8. The couple of new functionalities that we're introducing this year is, one is roaming save state. Roaming save state is basically the ability to take your game state and make that available to any of the devices that your game runs on. So whether you're, let's say that you're building a chess game, and you want to create one experience for that slate, and then you want to continue playing the game on your phone when you're out of the house, or you want to play it on the big screen when you're in your living room, the game state will roam across all of those devices. And as long as you're signed in with your Live ID, it's going to be there. So again, very convenient, really taking that set of services to the next level. Title managed storage is going to be that ability for you to basically have a set of settings in the cloud, right, or general settings in the cloud. So instead of tweaking games and releasing title updates just to kind of tweak your game or balance it, you will be able to do all that through the cloud and have your game just consume this kind of unified set of settings from Xbox Live without you having to do anything to your titles or republish title updates. Beacons, as I mentioned, is a new functionality we're going to be introducing this year. And that's actually the ability, and if you think how social is done today in gaming, is, let's say I want to play a co-op game of Age of Empires Online. Right? So the way I'm going to do it today is I'm going to call or email or text my friends and say, hey, do you want to play Age of Empires Friday night? I really need to get that achievement. And it's not that great of experience. What Beacons is going to allow you to do is really to broadcast what you want to do. Right? So if I want to play Age of Empires Friday night, I'm going to set a beacon that says, hey, I want to play this title, and I want to do it at that time frame. And my friends can just jump in and join me to this experience. Right? So again, bringing that social experiences of Xbox Live to a new level and adding all of that functionality so you as game developers can consume that in your game and use that. Next is the SDK we're going to be providing. So Windows 8 is providing a great developer platform, right? You've seen it in the last couple of days, no discussions. What we do want to add to it is really additional functionality that's going to help you protect your IP even better. As game developers, we know that our IP is the essence of our business, right? This is what, hopefully, we're making a living from. And what we've added to the Xbox Live service on Windows is the ability to basically provide cloud-based anti-piracy. And what that means at a high level is that even if your game is pirated on Windows, the pirated game will not be able to make any use of our services. It will not be able to use multiplayer. It won't be able to use achievements, leaderboards, sign-in, all of those things. And by taking that piece of anti-piracy to the cloud, then we're basically removing a lot of the kind of concerns that people have with offline anti-piracy and kind of the hurdles that it puts between the game and the user. So by taking some of that anti-piracy and putting it on the cloud, on the Xbox Live side, really trying to both protect your IP, but at the same time provide it in a great experience to the user. As you've seen in some of the talks before, we're also aligning our developer story with that of Windows. We will not be requiring you to develop only in managed code or only in C++, but we will be supporting your choice of development technology. Right? If you want to build your game in C++, go ahead. If you want to build it in C#, go ahead. If you want to use JavaScript to develop your game, it's there. Right? And it's all going to provide the exact same functionality regardless of the language that you will be using to develop the games. Another thing that we've been working really hard on is to integrate Xbox Live with Windows. Right? Windows provides incredible new functionality. We talked a little bit about the charms, but there is also notifications. And in Windows 8 timeframe, there is no real way for your application to keep running and consume resources just so it will get a notification that a friend is online or that you have a multiplayer invite or any other notification. Right? Windows 8 provides that Windows notification service, and it's very important that we as game developers understand how we integrate our game into the notification service. What we've done as part of the SDK is really tightly integrating Windows notification service with Xbox Live. So really kind of taking that part of the work from you and implementing it ourselves. So for example, friends or rich presence is going to be covered through that. Multiplayer notifications, we're going to cover that. You've seen the tiles, right, and the rich dynamic tiles. So we will be providing those type of notifications for your tiles when someone passed you in a leaderboard, or when someone came online, or when someone sent you an invite to play the game with him, right? So we're going to be providing all that plumbing for your games as part of our SDK. So you can really focus on building your game and not any of kind of the underlying plumbing. The last part, and I mentioned it earlier, is how do we create this huge funnel for your titles? Okay. Xbox Live, as I mentioned, is available in 35 countries, and it is our goal to provide the largest reach possible to the Xbox Live on Windows app, as well as to your games. Right? And this is a big part of how we're planning to take the Xbox Live Metro-style app and make it available the widest distribution possible, and with that will be obviously your games. As you've seen, both in the demo I showed on the Windows 8 Start menu, as well as in the Windows Store demos that were shown in the keynotes, you've seen in the game section there are a lot of Xbox Live games, right? And the reason that you knew that is that because they were branded this way. And we're taking the same type of branding experience that has been very successful on Windows Phone, and we're bringing it to Windows 8. Again, working closely with the Windows Store, and again, you will have that Xbox Live branded experience. The last point I wanted to make here before really going down to the code is when we think about what does it mean to bring our IP or games to new platforms, I would like to encourage you not to think about it, oh, there is a new reach opportunity, so I'm just going to port my game from platform foo to Windows 8. You need to start thinking about it as if, oh, I have two screens. How do they work together better, right? If I have my game running on the Xbox 360 and I want to develop a version that runs on Windows 8, how can I use the Xbox Live service to actually make them work better together, right? And not like, yeah, my game runs here, and it runs here, and it runs here. But what is that added experience that we can provide our users just by providing a better experience across the devices? We're doing a lot of work on the service to help you get there. But this is something that I really wanted use developers to think about when you're bringing your titles to Windows 8. OK. So we talked about it at a high level. We talked a little bit about really what we will be providing. Now let's take another step down and talk about the actual developer platform. So when we think about a developer platform, it has several set of components, right? On the right side, on the green side, we have the services that we provide. Those are the Xbox Live services that live in the cloud, and we have the runtime, which is kind of the library that you will link to in your game and use on a client. On the other side, we have the other set of building blocks that really allows you to complete the picture of developing and publishing your game. Right? It's the developer tools, it's the ingestion certification, it's the store, and it's basically kind of the set of components that round up your game development. I'm going to focus on the green boxes, on the service and the runtime, and really see what does it mean to use them in games. In the past year, we're not just been developing the Xbox Live on Windows runtime, that library that runs on Windows 8, but we've actually been re-architecting the entire Xbox Live service. Right? So it's not just sprinkling a nice API or WinRT API on top of existing ones, but it's literally rebuilding Xbox Live from the bottoms up. And we are rebuilding the Xbox Live service first in a more modern architecture to meet both kind of scale of Windows 8, as well as kind of the architectural and design principles that are used in modern development languages. So the new Xbox Live services are all going to be HTTP-based services. And we are going to be using REST as kind of the architectural style to move data to and from the service and to manipulate server resources. So as you can see, your app can both talk either directly to the service, or it can talk through the Xbox Live on Windows runtime, okay, which is going to be a client-side library that you can use. There are pros and cons of using each one of them, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. A quick recap of REST. So REST stands for Representational State Transfer. It's basically an architectural style, right? It's not an RFC or anything like that. And that's basically an architectural style that uses the standard HTTP verbs, right? Put, get, delete, post, to manipulate server resources. And the server resources are just exposed as URIs. Very simple. And we're using data blobs to transfer the data to and from the service. And normally it's either XML blobs or JSON blobs. Right? For the purpose of Xbox Live services, we are using JSON. And I'll show you samples how that looks like in a second. So what are the Xbox Live services REST APIs going to look like? So the endpoint is services, xboxlive.com, and there are core 7 URI endpoints that you can interact with from your application. Aggregation, or that's really the real-time counting service. This one is actually an extremely exciting URI or resource. This is a super scalable key value aggregation service. And what that provides you as game developers is the ability to create highly scalable scenarios such as voting, for example. Think about a million people going in 2 minutes to vote for their favorite candidate or for their favorite something, or leaderboards, or think about heat maps, right? And it's all in real time, and it's all super, super scalable. So this is one of the services that we are adding to the REST API. Leaderboards, it's basically access to the leaderboards, set leaderboards, read leaderboards. Friends, this is the full access to your friends' graph on Xbox Live. Matchmaking, messaging in session, this is the URI for the matchmaking and multiplayer. Storage, this is going to be the URI for title managed storage. Progress, this is a nice name for achievements. And user, this is actually the access to your profile, to the games you played, and anything else that you set on your profile. An example of how reading achievement looks like, so on top you see the HTTP request for achievement. This is a simple GET. And basically we're accessing the services Xbox Live COM. We're providing the user ZUID. We're accessing the progress endpoint. And we're asking for its achievement with a certain set of parameters. Very simple, very straightforward. Obviously, different URIs have different query parameters you can set in. Some can be more simpler, some can be way more complex. And the return data in the HTTP response will be, in this case, this simple JSON. This is part of it. This is not all of it. But you can see it's human-readable set of basically Java annotated information. Very simple, very easy to use. You can call that directly and use that. Right? Again, very straightforward. So we talked a little bit about the Xbox Live REST APIs. These are the APIs that will be available this year. And it was 2011 because this is just the initial set. We're going to be working to expand those set of services over time and provide additional functionality to you through those services. The second part, which I'm going to spend more time on, is the Xbox Live on Windows runtime. And the runtime, this is kind of, you can think about it as the set of client-side libraries that we're creating to encapsulate a lot of the plumbing required to interact with the service, and providing you as developers a much more easy, convenient developer API so you can interact with our service. And as you can see when you look at this high-level architectural slide, it looks very familiar because the same 6 boxes are the same 6 ones I talked about when I was showing the REST API. The one box that's missing is the aggregation. We're not going to be doing that in version 1. This is something that we'll be doing later. The architectural style that we've decided to take is, again, is very straightforward, very simple. It's, we have set of services, and we have set of property bags. And to send data to and from the service, all you have to do is either use the right property bag and the right service. And we're going to be doing all the work underneath to do the JSON parsing, construct the HTTP request, handle the states, handle offline where needed, and a lot of kind of the plumbing work that you would normally have to do to interact with HTTP service. We're going to be doing that for you. A big part of the difference between just a pure HTTP request or HTTP services to the runtime is the fact that we've been doing a lot of plumbing such as offline and caching, right? So if your game requires to be played also offline and online, we're going to provide that seamless experience to a user. We're also going to be doing a lot of the internal security, as I mentioned earlier, in order to support that cloud-based anti-piracy. Now, as Alesh was describing in his keynote, it is all about how do we take the WinRT API and really kind of providing it to support all of your choice of development language. And when we brought Xbox Live to Windows, it was very important for us really to kind of think about Windows 8 architecture and design first, and to build from there to provide a set of experiences that you need as developers. So for that matter, we really built the entire Xbox Live runtime from the ground up. I don't think there was one line of code that we actually took from existing code that we have on Windows 7, such as from the Game for Windows Live or from the console. This is all built from the ground up. And in fact, as we built it, we really listened to a lot of the feedback that you had as developers that were using Game for Windows Live, or from our users that were playing games that are actually implemented it. So we're really kind of listening both to you and to our users and bringing all that as we were building the Xbox Live on Windows runtime. And it was a very, very important tenet for us as we designed it. So let me walk you through a design call pattern and how that looks like. This is a very straightforward function, basically just to read a user's profile. So to start, we're using the Microsoft.com namespace, Microsoft.xbox namespace. Another important element is that we've been trying to hide a lot of the complexity or just plumbing that you'll have to work through. And in this example, everything that you need in order to sign in a user is done in one line. Okay? You don't see any credential prompting. You don't see any login functions. It's one call. right? Get me the signed in user, right? And if a user already signed into Windows using Live ID, you're going to get the credentials and we can move forward. If the user is not signed in, we will take care of credential prompting. If the user doesn't have a Windows Live ID, we're going to make sure that we go walk him through the account creation process. But from your developer standpoint, this is one line of code, right? So we're really doing a lot of work to simplify the developer experience. Similar to pretty much every function that you've seen in WinRT so far, they're all async, right? And we're really respecting the need to build performant, fast and fluid, which is a new term, apparently, in Windows 8. So the Xbox Live and Windows Runtime interfaces follow that model. All of our interfaces are async, and to really respect the fact that we are talking to HTTP behind the scenes, and there will be some latency, and there are some intermittent states that we have to deal with. So the interface really respects that. For the purpose of that code snippet, I'm showing delegates. You've all been to the C# or C++ talks, and you've seen the new async and await keywords. It's all good. I'm an old-fashioned guy. I'm still using delegates and callbacks. So basically use delegate, and then when the call completes, normally you will get a property bag, and now you can just go and interact with it. So again, very simple design pattern, and you'll see that across all of our APIs. Now, this is a C# sample, but you can use exactly the same code whether you're developing C++, right? And this is the exact same method and exact same functionality using C++. Or if you're using JavaScript. For some reason, that seems a bit shorter. But again, this is all about your choice of development language, right? And we really wanted to respect that as you're building on Windows 8. Another sample that I want to walk you through is achievements. So as you've seen, a lot of the underlying plumbing is actually constructing the HTTP queries, interacting with HTTP. And those queries can be very simple, or they can be very complex. And what we've done is, for example, in achievements, this is just one example, is we're kind of taking the in-params, but we're doing all the work underneath to construct the query and pass it in and handle all the states in between. So you guys don't have to deal with it. The last sample I want to walk you through is multiplayer. And the reason I wanted to do it is, one, this sample is going to show you how we do async multiplayer. This is the new both matchmaking and multiplayer functionality we're introducing, as well as kind of to show you how easy it is to do it on Windows 8. So what I'm going to show you is how do I find a matchmake or post a matchmake request, how do I find a match, join the session, and then how do I post data between the session members. The multiplayer namespace, that's where all the multiplayer goodies are. I'm creating a matchmaking service. The matchmaking service is actually where all the magic happens. And you, as game developers, actually decide what you want the matchmaking service to do for you. Okay? So we're not dictating anything on how the matchmaking service will work. You, as game developers, decide what parameters you set. You decide what match properties you set. And the matchmaking service just does the work on your behalf. So for that example, let's think that I'm building a chess game. Okay? And I want to be matched with someone who's a beginner, because I'm not such a great chess player, and someone who has less than 10 victories. Right? This is me as game developers. I decided to write it this way. Right? I decided that skill is a match parameter, and I decided that victories is a match parameter. Right? You can define 1, or you can define 100. Right? This is really up to you. I'm adding that to the match request, and in this case, I want to be matched with someone who is a beginner and with someone that has less than 10 victories. Right? I've done that, and I'm submitting or posting the request. And that was it. Right? That's all I had to do to really start a matchmake service. Now, what happens behind the scenes is that we're taking the parameters that you sent and all other users that want to play chess send and really kind of doing that matchmaking work on your behalf. Again, as complex or as simple as it is. Next is figuring out what's the state with my request. And a matchmaking request can be short-lived or can be very, very long-lived. And it really depends on your game, right? So a matchmake service can be like a shooter game. I'm sitting and waiting right now to have someone matchmake with so I can go and start a session. Or it can be a very long-lived, depending on the game. And in our case, it can be up to 30 days that a match request can actually live. So you as game developers decide when and how often to poll for the match status. Right? So you're getting the request ID after I posted the request, and now I, as a game developer, decide how often to poll. It can be immediate, like in this case, or it can be whatever. So I posted the request status, and then I'm getting basically the property bag that defines or represents the request status, and decide what I want to do with it. So I'm looking for the match. If a match was found, and if it is, all I have to do is join the currently signed in user to the session that was found. Right? And that was it. From that moment on, both users or the end users that we have for that match are joined under the same session ID. Right? The next step is just sending data between session members. Right? And this is extremely, extremely simple. All we have to do is create a random access data stream with the data that I want to pass. So in this case, I'm building my chess game, and my data is moving the queen from e4 to e5. But again, you as game developers decide what the data structure looks like. Right? It can be as simple as this, or it can be as complex as whatever, as a state of a whole 3D world. Right? It's really up to you to define how to use that API. And all I have to do is now post that message to all users in session. Right? And that was it. Right? So I was matchmake with someone. I posted a matchmake request. I got the session ID. I joined it. And now I'm just passing data between the users in the session. And that was it. Right? Very simple, very easy to use, very intuitive. Right? So we talked about the different services that are available. I talked a little bit about the Xbox Live, the REST service that's available on the web. And I talked about the Xbox Live Windows, the runtime component. There are some best practices or cons and pros of using each one. The REST service is really optimized for access from all devices, right? Because it's only web-based, because it doesn't have any client-side component. But it is limited in its functionality, right? It's available only when your game is always, or the user is always connected. It supports only that server-based async multiplayer. But again, it is optimized for service-to-service integration and this multi-platform play. The Xbox Live on Windows runtime, on the other side, is much more complete and really designed for full title development. Whether you're designing a simple card game or a AAA title, we're going to provide you all the rich set of functionality that you need to be able to build your game. We support the online or offline and doing it seamlessly on your behalf. I talked about the cloud-based anti-piracy, multiplayer, and the different versions of multiplayer that will be made available, whether it's async, sync, subnet multiplayer, or internet peer-to-peer multiplayer. You're going to have the full set of scope of achievements and gamer score points policy, same as the Xbox 360. And again, that's very tight integration with the Xbox with Windows 8 platform. So I convinced you. How do I get started? So Xbox Live is still going to be a managed system, but there is a but. Everyone who has a game that wants to be on the service can become part of Xbox Live service. Okay? If you have a good game, and it doesn't matter if you are a 10,000 people game publisher or you're one guy sitting at home building a great game, we want you on the Xbox Live service. We're going to make the onboarding experience very easy, very seamless, and we're really going to accept everyone who wants to be part of the service as long as you have good games, right? If it's not a form with a button that gives you 1,000 points, then I assume it's a good game. Now, more important is all of it is free, and we will be making tools and environments and developer support free for all developers that will be in the program. Right. So again, we really want to make sure that you're successful and that we provide you all the tools that you need to be successful. How do you get started? You have a link there at the bottom. Actually, the link is going to be available in a week, but this is where you go to submit your games. We're going to be making that available in a week, and you can start the interaction with us. So again, let's go and start building games together. So to close, and I have 4.5 minutes, Xbox Live is coming to Windows 8. Right? It's super exciting. We're bringing both the developer platform as well as the entertainment platform. Right? And it's all going to be available both to our users, to your game users, as well as to you as developers. We are bringing the complete set of Game Developers API, whether it's through direct service call to the REST API or through the Xbox Live on Windows runtime that we're making available. And the portfolio is open to all of you. Right? If you have good games, we really want you to be on our service. Related talks. So the graphics talks are extremely interesting and important to all of you if you're building games. Chaz had his session yesterday about the intro to first intro to DirectX Metro style apps. But there are a set of sessions today and tomorrow with Jason Strayer talking about input and audio that are extremely interesting and important, especially on the Windows 8 platform. Again, the game submission, the developer portal, and DirectX developer portal. And the last thing is, please do submit your feedback. Super important for us, really, to get your feedback on the work we're doing. So thank you again. Questions? So we have 3 minutes now. So what I'll do is I'm going to be available for the next couple of hours at the Expo Hall on the platform, near the platform booth. And feel free to come over and talk to us.